We're going to continue working on our sculptures today. So our learning goal is to create a sculpture, a three-dimensional sculpture that stands and that is realistic in the style of artist SEward Johnson. Today our goal is to use pose and proportion in our sculptures. Pose is the position that your character is in. You can tell, is it sitting? Is it standing? Is he or she walking or running? Proportion, we talked about last week, the size of the head compared to the arms, that sort of thing. You're going to have, most of you got your figure at least partially covered with clay. I talked last week about painting. Instead, we're going to use colored clay. I think that's going to be easier than trying to use paint. So at your table, you're going to have a paper with 4 colors. This month's lifeline is problem solving. A lot of problem solving today. One is going to be, how are you going to divide up the colors at your table? If you each want to pick one color, that's fine. If 2 people want to divide it in half and share 2 colors, you can do that. You need to problem solve at your table. As soon as you have your color or colors, then what you're going to do is take your person, and I'm going to review a little bit about what we talked about for doing clothes last week. You're really going, I'm limited on the amount of colored clay. So I want you to really use your fingers and really make the pieces thin. It works better if you use small pieces at a time. And we talked last week about making clothes. Clothes don't fit tight on our body. So I'm just going to do it really loosely. And let's say I'm going to make this person a pair of pants here. And it does kind of break apart. I'm just kind of drape it kind of loosely. That's just the top part of the pants, of course. I'm just draping it loosely. The other way, if you want to make more of the clothing kind of ahead of time, almost like you were dressing a doll or something, you could do that too. I'm doing this, I'm making the clothes as I go. You can choose which method you want to use. So again, I'm just going to kind of drape this around. And then when I'm done with my clothes and I'm done covering my person with clay, then we're going to work on pose. So that's where you're going to work on how you're going to set your person up, what pose that person's going to be in, and you're going to be using some weights at the end of the clay. So what you're going to do is, my person right here has a weight on the end. It's these things right here. You might use 1, you might use 2 to try and get your person to balance. That's the hard part. I also have cups if you want your person to sit. It's easiest to make your person sitting on something or to have your person sit on the ground. That's going to be a whole lot easier than standing, but you can try and make your person stand. Now partway through, I'm going to have you stop and we're going to give each other some feedback. I have a sculpture feedback form, and I'm going to have you choose one of the top ones, and you're going to look at someone else's sculpture, and you're not going to touch it, you're just going to look at it. So let's say I'm looking at this one, and I'm going to do, I like. What I like, let's say I like the pose. And over here is a word bank. You don't have to use the words, but they're there to use if you like. I like, or I might even put, I like the sitting pose. I know she fell over, but let's just imagine she's sitting here. If you have time, you can do something else. I noticed. What did I notice? I noticed, in this case, I noticed the paint is cracking. That's one reason why we're not using paint. But you can say the clay is coming apart. You know what? I just made a mistake. I want to keep these things positive. We're going to have a place for improvement down here. Let's keep these positive. So what's something positive that I notice? I noticed the girl has a ponytail.